Good afternoon, Hamlin County. Today is March the 25th, 2020. We hope the following information helps keep you informed about important community activities. Please contact Ms. Kellie Smith if you have any questions or concerns. Number one, many of our local businesses and industries have asked about when they should make a decision about closing their business. There is no official statement from the CDC or the Tennessee Department of Health on this issue. However, we understand there are many industries that are necessary for our community during this time. We need our hospitals, clinics, food processing plants, and others to remain open for a variety of reasons if possible. However, there are some things that we need to do to remain socially responsible and keep our employees safe. The following are some steps that you can take to remain open and still be socially responsible. Take the temperature of all employees when they report to work. Any temperature over 100.4 could be an indication of the infection. Have those individuals go back home. Create at least 6 feet between all workers if possible on assembly lines and in production areas. Encourage your workers to wash their hands for 20 seconds multiple times during the day. Abbreviate the day or work in alternating shifts so the entire workforce is not present at any one time. Avoid large group gatherings. Shut down common meeting halls in areas such as break room, dining areas, etc., to prevent staff members from meeting together in one area. Create an atmosphere where potentially infected staff members can self-report and self-quarantine if they are beginning to demonstrate symptoms. You would not want staff members to feel pressured to come to work if they have any symptoms. Have anyone who has traveled out of the state or into any of the areas where the virus has spread to remain at home for at least 2 weeks after they come back home. We understand that some counties in Tennessee have made the decision to implement a shelter-in-home or stay-home recommendation. Local authorities can recommend this concept, but do not have the authority to make this happen. A regional public health director must approve this particular request. Many of the counties have experienced a high number of infections, and governmental officials had to intervene in these counties. Hamlin County has not made that decision to recommend a stay-home mandate at this time. We will continue to monitor the situation and do what is necessary to keep our citizens safe. Number two, there is an increasing need for personal protective equipment or PPEs. Many of our first responders, health providers, assisted living providers are running low on this type of equipment. There may be professions within the community and some department outlets who would still have some of these items in stock. Please donate any protective mask, face shield, goggles, protective disposable gowns, hand sanitizers, disinfectant wipes, and gloves to the effort of protecting our healthcare providers and first responders. We will use our city fire station for collection sites. Number three, please note that hospitals and clinics have access to a limited number of virus test kits. They will be unable to test everyone for the virus who wants to be tested. You will first be tested for the flu and strep if you visit a medical facility. In most situations, medical facilities will not test unless you have at least 2 of the following. You must have a fever of over 100.4. Second, you've had contact with someone who's actually had the virus and been tested positive. Or number 3, have traveled one of the hot spots in the nation. This is identified as a place with over 200 confirmed cases. Please don't become frustrated when healthcare providers are unable to test. They are working with extremely limited test kits at this point and are doing all that they can to keep us safe. Efforts are being made to produce more kits, but they are limited at this time, so we appreciate your patience in advance. In addition, we want to reinforce the concept that you should not visit your healthcare providers with minor symptoms. Please contact your primary care physician if you have any questions or concerns. They can provide you with the best information and advice. Number 4, many of our community members are traveling this week for spring break. Virtually all of the early cases in Tennessee were connected with individuals who had traveled out of the state or to a hot spot. It is extremely difficult for the task force to provide one specific recommendation to all employers on this question. It is also important to understand that all situations may be different, and you should always contact a healthcare provider if you have questions. However, it may be advisable that all individuals traveling out of the state this week, especially to areas that are considered hot, again, those with over 200 confirmed cases, may want to consider self-quarantining for 2 weeks after they get back to ensure they've not contracted the virus. It is important to note that some organizations have developed elaborate screening strategies to detect potential infections. Hospitals, clinics, and first responders may have created screening processes which may help identify those that are in need of self-isolation. It is important to check with your employer for specific directions. However, if you're not in an essential workplace, or if you're not currently working and have traveled to a hot spot, it would be advisable to self-isolate for 2 weeks. Please keep in mind that it is not just your own personal safety that is at risk. You have the potential of spreading the viruses to others, so stay at home for at least 2 weeks and monitor your own symptoms. Number 5. We understand that a significant portion of our county will have some difficulty with this broadcast in English. We have several people in the community who have expressed a willingness to translate. We sent our scripts to Ms. Veronica Silver-Galvin, and she is in the process of translating these scripts. We certainly appreciate her help and willingness to do this. In addition, the video itself has a program which will automatically translate the broadcast into whatever language you want. Regardless, we will help to ensure that all segments of our community are able to stay informed. Number 6. On April 1st, several members of the Corona Task Force will gather to answer questions that community members may have. The panel will include both mayors, healthcare providers, school officials, public health officials, and industry representatives. This will be an excellent opportunity to get information about any question or concern you may have from the appropriate decision maker within our community. Of course, this cannot be an open meeting with an active audience. Individuals can send in their questions to Kellie Smith, and we will answer those questions during the broadcast. Ms. Smith's information is posted at the end of this broadcast. Number 7. The governor has stated that all school districts will remain closed through April the 24th. Per the governor's declaration, Hamlin County schools will be closed through April the 24th. Many of the questions and concerns which has been presented to the task force has been very specific concerns about individualistic health conditions. It should be clearly understood that all citizens should contact their primary health care provider if they have concerns about their own personal health or safety. Nothing stated in these broadcasts should be seen as an absolute and should not override the advice of your primary care provider. While we believe all this information presented in these broadcasts to be factual, accurate, and generally held as reliable, the current situation is extremely fluid and it may impact individuals very differently. It is impossible for us to provide personal advice or recommendations to any specific person. It is critical you remain in contact with your primary health care provider if you need medical attention. Thank you for your attention to this broadcast and do your part to keep our community healthy. Thank you.